Hello there and welcome to Lunchtime News here on TV1. You're joining me, David Paldano. Now, before we head into your stories in more detail, let's first take a look at your headlines this afternoon.
Villagers agonized over wild elephant encroachments confront wildlife officers. Farmers island-wide urge authorities to provide sufficient stocks of fertilizer. Approval granted to import organic fertilizer from India. Frontline Socialist Party and JVP unites to oppose emergency regulations. Social media outage for over 6 hours. Mark Zuckerberg's wealth drops by $6 billion.
Now taking a look at some local news. Villagers in rural Sri Lanka spend their nights in fear as they battle attacks by wild elephants. Yesterday, villagers of Kotugala demanded wildlife officers to remain throughout the night.
Villagers of Kotugala continue to battle wild elephant attacks daily. These attacks often claim the lives of people or their homes. Yesterday, the people of Ganevalpula called wildlife officers to chase away a wild elephant. The officers tried to leave the area, saying they had chased it away. But the villagers demanded that the officers must remain throughout the night. The problem was settled this morning after an additional wildlife director visited the area. He had promised to chase away the elephants and install a fence.
ගොවි තැනක් කරගන්නවත් විදියක් නෑ අපි කුලී කරන මිනිස්සු ගොවි තැන් කරලා ජීවත් වෙන්නේ මොනවා හරි තියෙන්න බෑ මෙහෙම ඇවිල්ලා විනාශ කරපුවාම අපිට දෙයක් නෑනේ ගේ හදා ගන්න උන ඔව් ඉතින් අතේ සත පහ අපි ඇත්තම අපිට මැටි ඇමිති ගොල්ලෝ පස්සේ යන්න වත් කමක් නැහැ ඔව් මේ කරන්න පන්දන් අල්ලන්න අපිට වත් කමක් නැහැ මේ කරගන්න අපේ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවේ යම් දෙයක් වෙන දා ඒක අනිවාර්යෙන් කරලා දෙනවා ඊයේ මම නම් හිටියේ මෙයා මම කියලා ඇත්තම මට ඒ තරම් වේදනාව ඔයට විතරන්නේ නෑ ඉතින් ගහනවා තුන්දෙනාටම ගහනවනේ ගාලා මේ ගේ පට්ටම් කරනවා උන් කේන්තියේ ඉන්නේ ආගේ ඉන්න.
Corruption has been a constant headline in Sri Lankan society. However, fertilizer too has been a contentious topic in the country in recent weeks. At present, corruption is running rampant while fertilizer is running out. The fertilizer crisis in Sri Lanka has not only caused detriment to paddy cultivations, which are to commence in the upcoming Maha season, but has also disrupted tea production, which is our nation's main export crop. Tea is the lifeblood of many in Palindunuwara, Kalutara, but now their tea leaves are withering. The tea leaf does not possess its natural moisture. 350 families cultivating 380 acres of tea are now in despair. This is the village of Otunu Palidigama in Kalababa, Anuradhapura. Residents of this village are starving at present. Their livelihood is growing fruit. However, non-recipient of fertilizer in a timely manner has driven their pepper, banana and guava cultivations to the brink of destruction. Agriculture Minister Mahinda Nandalutgamake says fertilizer would be imported even from India to address the crisis.
I would like to know how the standards of local fertilizer would be identified and what steps would be taken to avert a fertilizer shortage during the Maha season if there are delays in importing a stock. That is because the Maha season contributes the most to the agriculture business sector. There will be no fertilizer shortage simply because we halted imports from China. We wanted to import a form of nitrogen from China. It is a booster. 3 types of organic fertilizer required for the Maha season is ready. A consignment of potassium chloride will arrive in the country on the 10th. The Maha cultivation season begins on the 15th of October in the Ampara district. On the 12th, we will distribute the fertilizers through all agrarian service centers. We are discussing with India to import nano nitrogen. If there are delays, we will bring them down via air freight. Therefore, we will distribute fertilizer without any shortage during the Maha season. The plant quarantine unit had approved the Indian products. We have received lab reports showing that it can be used in Sri Lanka. Therefore, we will bring it down before the 15th, even through air freight.
මේරටේ පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා ලැබ් රිපෝට්ස් ඇවිල්ලා තිබුණා. ඒ නිසා අපි එයා ෆ්‍රේට් හරි 15 වෙනිදාට කලින් ගෙන්න ගන්න තමයි උත්සාහ කරන්නේ.
Farmers are in turmoil not only in Sri Lanka but also neighboring India. Farmers in India have vowed to intensify their months-long protest against after 9 people were killed in northern Uttar Pradesh. 4 farmers died on Sunday when a car owned by a federal minister ran over protesting farmers. Security in North India has been ramped up following the tense situation. Meanwhile, social media services Facebook, WhatsApp and Instagram stopped working for almost 6 hours yesterday.
Facebook, WhatsApp and Instagram stopped working at around 9:15 Sri Lankan time last night. WhatsApp and Instagram are owned by parent company Facebook. In a statement, Facebook said a faulty configuration change was the reason for the outage. It added that data of users had not been affected. Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg apologized to those affected. He said, and I quote, "I know how much you rely on our services to stay connected with the people you care about," end quote. Facebook employees were unable to enter the building during this period as their access cards weren't working. They couldn't enter into their email accounts either. The disruption comes after a former Facebook employee named Franz Hogan leaked documents. The documents showed how the company is lying on making progress against hate, violence and misinformation. The widespread Facebook outages coupled with revelations from a whistleblower caused Mark Zuckerberg's net worth to dip significantly. Zuckerberg's net worth dipped by $7 billion in a matter of hours as a stock sell-off prompted Facebook to fall by roughly 5%. Zuckerberg's wealth has now dropped to $120.9 billion, making him the 5th richest person in the world behind Bill Gates. Zuckerberg has previously risen as high as number 3 on Bloomberg's Billionaires Index, but his net worth has been sliding for several weeks, and since the 13th of September, Zuckerberg has lost $19 billion.
What action will be taken on the Sri Lankans mentioned in the Pandora paper that exposes tax haven secrecy? Can the Bribery and Corruption Commission investigate these claims?
The Commission to investigate allegations of bribery and corruption says it hasn't received a complaint yet.
What can happen if a complaint is received?
The Commission said its members will take the relevant action if a complaint is received. The Pandora Papers, leaked by the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, has sent ripples across the world. Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan had said his government will investigate and take action against wrongdoers. Mexico's President Manuel Lopez has said his government will also investigate the details revealed in the Pandora Papers. The leak contains the names of more than 3,000 Mexicans. The Pandora Papers had shown that Jordan's King Abdullah had spent £70 million to buy properties in the UK and the US. In a statement, Jordan's palace said the properties are no secret and had been purchased by the king using personal funds. The statement noted that the properties weren't made public due to privacy and security concerns and not to hide them. The leaked documents also link Russian President Vladimir Putin to secret assets in Monaco. But Russia has dismissed the revelations by calling them unsubstantiated claims. The Pandora Papers also show the Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta secretly owned several offshore companies for decades. He had said, quote, "These reports will go a long way in enhancing the financial transparency and openness that we require in Kenya and around the globe," end quote. The papers also show that UK's former Prime Minister Tony Blair and his wife did not have to pay £312,000 in stamp duty when buying a house. But the Tony Blair Institute tweeted that, quote-unquote, "they have always paid their taxes in full and have never used offshore avoidance schemes of any kind."
The opposition has questioned why details of illicit funds belonging to sports clubs is not being revealed.
The Pandora Papers have exposed money laundering involving wealthy people. Has money laundering taken place in sports clubs as well? The problem faced by sports clubs is not whether there is clean or dirty money. They don't have money. You might recall that the former sports minister said that we lost the 2011 Cricket World Cup finals due to match fixing. After he made such remarks, media reports emerged on match fixing in Sri Lanka. International cricketers from Sri Lanka also faced such allegations. The Special Investigation Unit of the Sports Ministry had recorded a statement from the sports minister on this. The ICC also recorded a statement. Aravinda De Silva, who headed the selection committee at that time, was also summoned to the CID. Former cricket captain Kumar Sangakkara was also summoned to record a statement. Now the Attorney General's department says that this case cannot proceed as there is no evidence. Will legal action be taken against the minister under the Prevention of Offences Relating to Sports Act or any other law for making false remarks which stirred international controversy? If we begin punishing the complainants, no one will file complaints in future. That is my stance. The name of the Russian president has also been implicated in the Pandora Papers, as well as former British Prime Minister Tony Blair. The names of multiple top figures from many countries have been revealed. Everyone is ready to launch an attack on the Rajapaksa family, since Nirupama Rajapaksa is also a relative of the family. As a member of the cabinet, I wish to responsibly state that if there is such a suspicion, file a complaint and we will investigate it.
Up next is Crime Watch.
Crime Watch.
A man has confessed over the recent murder of the Grama Niladhari officer of Ambanpula. Police are suspecting that the officer was run over by a vehicle or attacked by a weapon. They have identified the person behind the attack as a railway superintendent in Galgamur. The suspect has testified that the murder was linked to a dispute over his wife's land. The Grama Niladhari officer had given a solution that favoured the other party. The suspect had confessed that this provoked him to carry out a contract killing. He had hired 3 people for 70,000 rupees to carry out the murder. The 3 killers had carried out the murder using a van that they bought on lease. Police are searching for the killers.
Crime Watch.
A woman was killed in a fatal accident this morning near Rilawala Junction in Polgasovita.
The victim has been admitted to the Vattara District Hospital. The accident occurred while the victim and another woman was visiting a medical clinic this morning. The woman who was injured in the accident passed away after being admitted to the hospital. A bus transporting a group of hospital staff workers from Kahatudua to Narayampeta was involved in the road accident.
The Frontline Socialist Party and the Jatika Janabalawega held a special meeting today. They say it's aimed at opposing emergency laws to suppress protests.
The meeting took place at the headquarters of the Jatika Janabalawega in Batharamulla.
When they implemented emergency laws, they said it was done because cost of goods had gone up. They said these laws are required to control the prices of sugar and rice. By today, they haven't controlled the cost of rice. It is the members of a mafia in Polonnaruwa that are controlling these rates. They are announcing the prices of rice. They are not controlling prices or raiding storages. It is clear that this was just a farce to cover this month. Their objective was to suppress the working class and to suppress the flack they had been drawing.
ජනතාව මර්ධනය කිරීම ඒ වගේම පොදුවේ රටේ ජනතාවගේ ආණ්ඩුවට එරෙහිව නැගෙන විරෝධතා මර්ධනය කිරීම
මර්ධනය කිරීම සඳහා ගන්නා වූ මේ පියවරය.
We have decided to launch a widespread struggle by carrying out protests in and outside Parliament against these acts of suppression. We will then decide whether we can move forward under a broader agreement. That will be decided based on the situation in the future.
ඉදිරියේදී ඒ ඇතිවන අලුත් තත්ත්වයන් තුල
Who makes up the committee appointed to assess the possibility of recovering the NMRA's data which was deleted from the government cloud? The citizenry can only place its trust on a transparent process if it is aware of the members in the committee. Newsfirst queried the Secretary to the State Ministry of Production, Supply and Regulation of Pharmaceuticals, Dr. Saman Ratnayaka, on the matter.
We have taken steps to obtain the report on the deletion of data from the NMRA and are attempting to recover the data. Epic Lanka Technologies has been empowered by the committee to engage in the process of recovering data. This process will be conducted under the supervision of the committee. Epic Lanka will be handling the process of retrieving the data and the ICTA will step in to support if necessary. Teams from both the Katubadda University and Colombo University will overlook the task. Figures representing the NMRA and the Ministry of Health will overlook the task. We have created an environment conducive for the committee to operate without any influence. According to Epic Lanka Technologies, the data can be retrieved soon. We have not revealed the names of those in the committee to allow them to carry out their tasks, barring any external influence.
Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa says attempts are being made to divert attention from identifying those behind the garlic scam.
Have recommendations been obtained from the pricing committee on the sale of garlic to one entity at a cost of 135 rupees a kilo? How did the transaction take place without the knowledge of the subject minister and Sathosa officials? Wasn't this scam revealed until it was for an SMS because it involved officials at Sathosa? Were journalists who reported on this summoned to the CID in an attempt to wipe out media freedom and threaten the media to avoid reporting on such scams in the future?
මාධ්‍ය තර්ජනය කිරීමේ අරමුණින් නොවේද සතෝස ආයතනයේ දෙවන්ත පරිමාණයේ
The government admits that a large-scale fraud had taken place with regard to garlic. It had taken place outside the permitted framework. The chairman of Sathosa or its officials had not been informed of this. They are not connected to this. They have made 3 purchases secretly. Neither me, the Prime Minister or the Cabinet had instructed to question journalists on this matter. It was the CID that had collected evidence from the media. The relevant ministry has informed them to avoid doing such things. The CID is on the process of revealing such details.
Dr. Siran Darinagala, a prehistorian known for his work across the world and a former Director General of Archaeology, passed away this morning.
Dr. Darinagala joined the Department of Archaeology in 1968 as an Assistant Commissioner in charge of scientific excavations. Dr. Darinagala was at the forefront of discovering the Fahian cave. Excavations in the Gedige site in Anuradhapura had also commenced based on his instructions. Dr. Siran focused on prehistoric explorations and excavations in ancient shore dunes, referred to as the Iranamadu Formation, dating back over 130,000 years before the present. He used the resulting data to complete a PhD at the Harvard University in 1988. Dr. Darinagala is a proud product of St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia, and was one of the last known archaeologists representing the Iknaligoda generation. Incidentally, both Dr. Siran and his father, Paulus Edward Piris Darinagala, were Director Generals of the Department of Archaeology.
The joint naval exercise held between the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force and Sri Lanka Navy conducted on a successful note off Colombo today.
Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force ship Kaga, which arrived in Sri Lanka on an official visit on the 2nd of October, took part in this joint naval exercise with SLNS Sagara of the Sri Lanka Navy in seas off Colombo. The prime motive was to enhance relationships, deepen cooperation between two countries, and increase bilateral ties in the scope of humanitarian assistance, disaster relief. The exercise comprised search and rescue, divisional tactics, station keeping by distance line, photo exercise and farewell pass with the assistance of a shipborne helicopter H-60 of Kaga. Sri Lanka Navy bade customary farewell to the departing ship Kaga on successful completion of the joint naval exercise.
And with that, we wrap up lunchtime news here on TV1. For more news, log on to our award-winning website, that is www.newsfirst.lk. For the Newsfirst team, I'm David Paldada. Take care.